Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 4 of Interview with an NHL Hero here at Heroes of the Crease Goaltending Museum and Memorabilia Limited. My name is Bruce Chania, your host, and also the owner at Heroes of the Crease. Now, today's special guest was drafted 214th overall by the Philadelphia Flyers in 1990. He played 156 NHL games over 5 NHL seasons with the Flyers as well as the New York Islanders. Playing for Team Sweden, he is a 2-time gold medal winner in the World Championships, a 1-time silver medalist at the World Championships, 1-time silver medalist at the World Junior Championships, as well as a 3-time Swedish Hockey League champion. With a career spanning from 1986 to 2000, he traveled the world with his hockey. Welcome our very special guest, Mr. Tommy Soderstrom. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Thank you very much. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. I'm looking forward to learning some exciting things about your career. So, if you don't mind, we'll get started with our show. All right. So, as you know, Sweden is known for being a hockey power. I will shoot, and well, you're the goalie, so I can't score, but I'll try. Sweden is known for being a hockey powerhouse. However, at the time you made the NHL, you were only the 4th Swedish goalie ever in NHL history behind Hardy Astrom, Goran Hogosta, and the legend Pele Lindbergh. Did you ever get a chance to meet or interact with any of those legends of Swedish hockey? And if you did they ever give you any words of wisdom or inspiration throughout your hockey career?
I met Pele Lindbergh at a hockey school. And I remember it was in, I think it was Furudal, that's the name of it. And he was standing behind the goal. The memory I had was one of the players come down and shoot, and he missed the goal. And then Pele took it in his hand, just with he didn't have any gloves on, but he took just the puck in the hand. So I was like, oh my God. We were kids back then, so they didn't shoot really hard, but he was awake then during the practice.
Yeah. So unfortunate what happened with Pele Lindbergh there, given how young he was and how much of a future career he had. But did you feel that he had an impact on hockey in Sweden growing up? Did it make an impact on your career?
Not on my career, because back then, it was no internet, and we didn't we couldn't see any games from NHL. So the only time I saw Pele was on the national team. Okay. But I was too young back then to remember that. So, but he was really big in Sweden, and especially, after when people die, they get like a legend status right away. Absolutely. So, but I know some cool pictures of him when he makes saves, because I loved his pads, and so he was a great goalie.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so it has been said that the nickname given to you by your teammates while playing back in Sweden was Psycho. Can you explain why they called you that?
For me, it was a good nickname, and I took it like a compliment, and I think it comes from because I have like a lot of superstitious stuff before the game. Okay. So I think that's why they sometimes called me Psycho, and my friends also from when I was young also called me Psycho, and like I said, it's a good nickname and it's a compliment.
Oh, I believe it. What kind of unusual superstitions or pregame rituals did you have that made them call you that?
I don't know if I had any unusual, but I had a lot, and I mean a lot. So,
what are some of them?
Some of them was like I always, when I played home, I bought an ice cream, I bought chocolate, and I bought a newspaper. When I was home, and then I drove to the game, and I was always in the locker room like 3 hours before. So then I eat my ice cream, who was soft when I come to the locker room, because I had like 15 minutes from the arena. And I was reading the paper, and then the chocolate I took between periods. And then, like I said, I had a lot of stuff. And I think a lot of players also have that. You dress the same way, in the same moment, and time frames and stuff like that. And for me, it meant that I was comfortable, even if I played in New York or in Prague or whatever. It made me feel good. So
okay, no, that's interesting. I like that. Might as well, since we're on the whole topic then of strange pregame rituals and superstitions. You said you didn't have any particularly strange ones, and just seemed like a way for you to get comfortable with games. You've had lots of goaltending partners and players, skaters that you've played with over the years. So then I asked the question, what is the weirdest or most bizarre pregame ritual that you've ever seen from a player, whether it's in the NHL or back in Sweden?
I think it must be my goaltender partner in New York, Jamie McLennan, because he was so tied up early on the day, like the scrimmage, like the practice in the morning. You pretty much couldn't speak to him the whole day. You could do, but I mean, you didn't want to disturb him. And I was like, first couple of times I saw it, I was like, okay, come on, how can you do this for 82 games? But he was a great goalie, so for him it worked. But for me, I couldn't never be so focused so early in the days. In the day when I play a game. But I think that's not the crazy, maybe the craziest or longest ritual. So, but he was a great guy, and a great goalie, so it worked for him.
Oh yeah, I do find it interesting that each of our last few episodes, Jamie McLennan's popped up as one of the topics of conversation. So I find that very, very funny that you mentioned him.
Yeah.
I
heard he's like a broadcaster for TV now or something.
Yeah, he's on TSN. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Oh yeah. He's still involved in the hockey world. Actually did have a question pop up on our screen, but I'll bring it up when it gets to it, because we actually asked a similar question.
Yeah.
So let's go back to your NHL draft. Bring myself back up on the screen. Perfect. So back in the early 1990s, the NHL draft wasn't the huge media spectacle that it is today. How did you find out that you were drafted, and how did it feel to know that you were wanted by an NHL team?
Actually, I did find out. I think it was the day after or something, or 2 days after. I don't remember, because it was during we had a summer practice with my old team, Djurgården, and I think it was the coach or something. Hey, did you know that you get drafted for the Flyers? And I said, like, no, I didn't know that. And so I was really, really surprised. But I was, and I come home, and I don't know what I did, but I think Inge Hammarström.
Okay.
He was the scout for Philadelphia.
Right.
And he lived in Sweden. So I think he might have called me the next couple of days to say that they took me, and I was happy for that. And especially Philadelphia, because Pele has been there. And I think one of the reasons was what's his name? I think he liked my style, Inge Hammarström. So I was happy, but I think I was number 212 or something like that. So I was late in the draft. And I remember one of the owners come to me during my first season, and he said, like, I can't believe, Tommy, that you drafted like number 212, because maybe that was like the 10th round or something. because I had a good year. So
right.
we used to laugh at that, but yeah, it was a good memory.
Oh, I believe it. Oh, we got a few comments here on the side. We'll just bring them up on there. So we have Sean Cossey on Facebook. He said, solid guest. Seems to be quite excited that you are here.
Cool.
We have some Swedish people joining us. We have Peter Strålman. He says, hey, joining there from...
Hello, everybody.
Very good. And then also one of my friends as well, but who's also Swedish and part Hungarian, saying hello from Sweden.
Canada, what do you say? Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Cool.
So let's move on to the next question then. And this will actually tie in with the question one of our guests here asked. So you're a consecutive Swedish champion with Djurgården in 1990 and 1991. Then you represented Sweden in the 92 Winter Olympics. Prior to the Olympics in 91, that was the Canada Cup, you took a very hard Steve Larmer shot right in the mask that broke your mask and cut your face. Your goaltending equipment was a subject for a lot of conversation, both during your playing days and even nowadays. Not taping the blade of your stick was one of them. But the big point of conversation that people still talk about today is your Jofa 298 mask with that oversized cage. Why did you continue to use that model of cage instead of going to a more modern style of mask that others were using at the time?
They used to call it the bird cage, and they were laughing at me when I had it. But for me, this is how it looks. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know how, but this is the last helmet I had and cage. But for me, I could see really good out of it, and I felt comfortable with the helmet. And I tried once or twice with a mask, but for me it was I didn't see really good, and I was claustrophobic in it. So for me, it was a no-brainer. I had this, and now these days, like you said, a lot of people ask me what kind of helmet it is, the number, and the number of the cage, and a lot of people wants to get the same outfit. So for me, it's an honor that it's so ugly, but they love it. They seems to love it, but I don't know.
Well, it's true. There is a lot of collectors out there who make their own replica masks of goalies throughout history, because obviously buying the game-worn ones do cost a lot, even for the cages. So they do the next best thing. Tying in with that question, Peter Stallman asks, Tommy, what did NHLers think of your cage? So other players, other goalies.
They were laughing at me. I remember one time when we had my dog is coming up here and I'm feeding him with treats now. And so I remember one time when we had like the morning skate, and we skate after Pittsburgh, and they were looking at me and they were laughing, and they did something like this and stuff. But for me, I didn't care about that. I loved my outfit. So, but now these days, sometimes I play like what do you say, veteran games. That's how I say it. Yeah, with the national team. And then when I come out on the ice with my small pads, they were laughing at me and saying, "How could you play hockey with that kind of stuff?" So, and I said, "Okay, it bring me 2 gold medal and world champion, a couple of championships." So, a little cocky. I say it with a smile, so they know that I'm just joking. Yeah.
Well, you got to flex a little bit too. You have those accolades. Yeah. So,
but like I used to say, is before in the 90s, it was tougher to make a save than it is today, because we were so small. Most of the goalies. So, but they shoot much harder today also. So it's a total different game today.
Oh, no kidding. That's one thing that a few of the NHL goalies that we've had as guests in the show have mentioned, is goalies nowadays are a lot different than back in the 90s and before, where you look at a goalie in the 80s or 90s, you notice their style and you know exactly who it is. Now, common type of concern a lot of people have is that sort of all the goalies look alike, other than the name on the back of the jersey. So it's
exactly
interesting.
The same. Yeah, actually the same I see, because when I was young, when I watched like the replays on TV, you could tell you didn't need to see the head of the goalie. You could just see on his pads which goalie it was on different teams.
Right. Exactly.
Now all the goalies look the same, so
that's true.
I can't see the difference, but maybe that's just me and I'm an old fart. I don't know, but
they're just different eras, just how things change, I guess.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, might as well, you know what, we got a good question again. It has to do with your goalie gear. Might as well keep at it since people are interested in it. So, we have, once again, Peter Stallman asking, what did you think of Adam Verner trying your old gear?
Yeah, I thought it was really fun. The newspaper in Sweden called me. A friend of them called me to ask if they could borrow my old stuff. And then the goaltender in Färjestad, he played there. I don't know. Is he over in America now, I think?
Verner, I believe so, yes. I want to say Colorado Avalanche, I believe, but I could be mistaken.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, so they had him try my stuff, and then they put some penalty shots, or they were just shooting at him with his equipment and my equipment. And I remember he get the shot and he went down on his knee, and he get it right on his knee. So they were laughing, and they thought he might get hurt, but he didn't.
That's funny.
But it was fun to watch. It was like a 10-minute clip or something on Swedish internet.
Oh, exactly. It reminds me a lot of they had it a few years ago. I don't know if you know Ben Bishop. He's still with the Dallas Stars, but he's one of the tallest goalies in NHL history. And he tried on Darren Pang's pads, who played in the late 80s with the Blackhawks. And that size difference, it almost barely went up to his shins, those old pads. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the goalies these days, they are big, all of them. They're like, I don't know in your measure, but in Sweden, they're like 190, 195 or something like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you don't see many goalies under 6 foot tall nowadays. Whereas, I mean, you're going to the 90s, you had guys like Arturs Urbe succeeding at only 5'8" tall. So,
he was a great goalie, Artur Urbe.
Oh, yeah. He's my all-time NHL hero. So he's the whole reason that Heroes of the Crease came about. Was our collection started off. Oh,
I have a question to him though. Maybe you know the answer.
Okay.
Why didn't he turn down a big contract for like 5 years with big numbers, and then he did, and then he didn't do so good afterwards?
Is that with Carolina there?
Yeah, or maybe San Jose, maybe, or Carolina. I don't know, because I was thinking back then why he did turn it down, because they offer him so much money. But maybe I'm wrong. But that's what I think I remember. But do you have an answer, or do you?
I don't. Main thing I remember with Urbe there, especially with regards to Carolina, is he had a no trade clause, and then after the year they got to the Stanley Cup final, he switched up his goalie pads and got a new mask design, and then that was probably his worst season in his career. We had only like 7 wins and I think 34 games, which is pretty rough for him, especially coming off Stanley Cup final. And then 03-04, they wanted to trade him, but he had a no trade clause, so they ended up sending him to the ECHL, and then they brought him up at the end of the season, then traded him to Columbus, and then obviously that lockout happened in 2004, 2005, and then he returned to Europe and then retired in 2007. So, yeah, it was a good journey he had, but didn't end the way anyone hoped. All right, so let's go back to your time with the Philadelphia Flyers there.
Yeah.
Bring myself up here. Very good. So in your first season in Philadelphia, you took over the starting goalie role that had been filled for years by Ron Hextall. And on top of that, you were a Swedish goalie in a city where Pelle Lindbergh and his legacy is nothing short of hockey legend. Do you feel that the fans, as well as your teammates, put extra pressure on you in your first season, both because you were a rookie and because of your Swedish background, drawing comparisons to Pelle Lindbergh?
No, I didn't. I never did that. And my teammates were so nice to me, and the fans also. So I never felt that kind of pressure. And I love to play for the Flyers.
Okay.
At the Spectrum, it was such a great arena, and the fans were so noisy and crazy. And even if we didn't play really good during when I was there, they were really nice. They could boo us a lot,
of course,
but in the same time, that's the part of the game. So I loved to play there. It was a great time.
Okay, that's good to hear, because I mean, you hear lots of stories about being a goalie in Philadelphia is one of the toughest things, because the fans really can be mean sometimes to the goalies out there. I mean, you look at that big rotation they had with like going through Van Beesbrook up to Brizgalov. It really wasn't a real starter there. All right.
Yeah.
Actually, tying in with
they did it.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, they didn't boo me so much my first season because I had a first great season, but the second season they booed me so much. Oh my God, because I was so bad and I couldn't stop a beach ball. And that season, the second season, I felt a lot of pressure because I was so bad, and you want to do good in front of your teammates and in front of your fans. But so that was a tough time, my second year. But my first year, I just loved it. So I remember the first time I had like a shootout. They were chanting my name and standing up, and I never heard so much before, so I get chill on my arms. And yeah, it was a great time.
Wow. Can only imagine with a sellout arena with like 18,000 people doing that.
yeah, I know. And it didn't matter if we lose like 6. If there was 1 or 2 good fights, they were happy anyway. So yeah,
interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So we actually have a question that popped up regarding your Philadelphia Flyers time, so we'll bring it up here. So Sean Cossey asked, what was it like playing with Eric Lindros in his prime?
It was really fun, and it was really fun to see. We come the same season, so it was really fun to see how he handled all the pressure and all the fans, because it was so much pressure on him, and the progress he did, he get better and better and better all the time, and he was such a force. I wouldn't like to be a defenseman when he come down the wing with all his speed and his power. So they must be scared.
Fair enough. And you had to play against him when you were at the Islanders there. So
yeah, I know.
All right.
Unfortunately, he got a lot of concussions.
Right.
His career, so he needed to quit.
Yeah, there was both him as his brother as well. Brett Lindros had the same issue, lots of concussions. So, who knows?
I played with him on the Islanders. Lindros, Brett.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So you always played with the Lindros.
Yeah, I did. They both Lindros. They were both nice guys, but Eric had much more talent, of course, than Brett had. But I know he signed a big contract, Brett, and then I think he might just play 1 or 2 years, and then he gets retired because of all the concussions, I guess. So
that's unfortunate, yeah.
So it was tough for him.
So you made your NHL debut on December 17th, 1992, against Philadelphia's rival, the Pittsburgh Penguins. You stopped 22 of 27 shots in a 5-4 loss that day. How did you find out you would be getting the start? How did it feel during the game? And did your teammates help you out at all leading up to puck drop?
I don't remember how I found out. I guess it was at the morning skate. And the biggest memory I had that game was after maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes in the first period. There were a big fight in my zone, and all the gloves were on the ice. And then I was thinking, okay, this is NHL, and I like that. I love fights. So for me, it was fun to watch. So maybe it wasn't so much fun for the guys who needed to fight, but
Right.
it was fun to watch, though. And the teammates, they were great. And after I started the first game, I think I started 22 straight games, something like that.
Oh, wow.
And I guess that's really rare for a rookie to start many games from the first game. So I don't know if there's some kind of record in Philadelphia or something. I'm not sure, but usually a rookie goaltender maybe start 2 or 3 or 4, but not 22. So, but Bill Deneen, he liked me, the coach, and he let me play it a lot.
Oh yeah, well, your numbers definitely in your first rookie season there showed you were more than capable of handling that playing load. So why not play when the goalie's doing well? After all.
Yeah, I know. But what happened the second year? I can't believe it. I was so bad the second year. So that was sad. But what could I do? I did my best, but it wasn't good enough the second year, though.
Right. I actually do have a question related to that. We'll get to that a little bit in a few questions on from there. But let's go back to your experience again as a player in Philadelphia. So Philadelphia Flyers fans are notoriously passionate about their NHL hockey. Did you have any particularly funny or noteworthy interactions with fans?
Yes, I had. I had a lot of interaction with fans. I was like waving to the kids during the game or the warm-up. Not when the puck was, what do you say? Not when the play was on, but like when it was the whistle, and then I could wave to kids. And I remember I had a good relation with the owners during the warm-up on the ice. He was usually his wife and the kid was standing by the bench. I was talking to the kid, and she loved it, and we talked a lot. Every time she was on the bench, I was talking to her, and then and after the game, I was always because back then we were parking outside the Spectrum, and there were always a lot of fans there. So I signed a lot of autographs, and I was talking to them. So some days it could take like 30, 40, 50 minutes to get to the car. But for me, it was great because I had nothing to come home to on night. So it was great for me to chat with fans after the game.
Were there any particularly weird interactions you ever had with a fan where they acted weird around you?
No, they didn't. They were so nice to me. And one of my friends, he was named Jimmy. He went to practices sometimes also. So once in a while we went on lunch with his friends. And then I was in his home also for dinner. So he was a really nice guy, Jim.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Don't hear stuff like that too often.
Yeah.
All right. Let's bring up another question here. So we have Peter Stallman just loading up with the questions here. He's excited to have you on the show by the sounds of it. He's asking, what was it like playing on Tre Kronar with guys like Sundin, Forsberg, Lidstrom very early on in their careers?
It was fun, of course, and you could see their talent. And I remember the World Championship 92. It was Peter Forsberg's first World Championship, and Mats Sundin, he was 91, and Lidstrom was also 91. And I don't know. I don't think Lidstrom was he drafted back then, or did he play in NHL 91? I don't remember, but he played the World Champion, and he was good back then also. So it was fun to play with them and to see their talent. And I think Peter Forsberg was 18 when we played a World Championship in Prague '92. And I remember he scored a goal against Finland, I guess, in the final. So yeah, they were great players and great people. So teammates.
Do you still interact with any of them today?
No, actually, no, not much. Sometimes with Mats and Dean, never with the other two guys, because we play on the same golf course, Mats and me. And once in a while we play around together. And I sent him a text last week because he turned 50.
Oh.
Yeah, so I said happy birthday and welcome to the club. And it's nice on this side of the 50s.
Of course.
And I met Lidström maybe for 2 summers ago at a tennis tournament in Sweden called Båstad Open. And he's in so good shape still. So if he wants to play, he could still play, I guess.
Very good. Make an NHL comeback. He could rejoin the Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
Good. So bring myself up again. Perfect. Good. So let's get serious with the next question here. So in your rookie season, you were diagnosed with Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome. For viewers who don't know, that essentially means there's an extra electrical pathway in the heart which causes an occasionally rapid heartbeat. So, Mr. Soderstrom, how did you first find out that you had it, and did you feel that it might threaten your hockey career at all?
I first found out at the training camp because we did some tests, and it was for me it was a bad timing because I played my first game. I played at the preseason game with the Philadelphia. I got pulled after 10 goals. We played Quebec away. And they pulled me off the 10 goals. I was like, okay, come on. Am I so bad goalie or what? And the next game I played was against New Jersey, home. And we were down 1-4 after half the game. And I was, come on, Tom, what's wrong with you? And then I think we lost the game 4-1. But after that, the next day or so, they called me in. I figured, why do they call me in? Do they going to send me down or whatever? But then they had gone through all the papers from the start of the training camp, and the doctor said they find that I had Wolff-Parkinson-White. So they said, you can't practice anymore. We need to check this out. So they did, and they said we need to operate you, but it's going to take. They couldn't do it right away. I don't know why. So I went back to Sweden a couple of weeks, and then I come back and did. And I told them, like, sign a paper that if something happens, I'm not going to sue you. Because I didn't felt it that I had any problems. So, but they didn't want to do that. So I had I think it was 2 operations first, and then I started to play, or maybe three operations, and then I did 2 more, I think, the season after or something. So I had 5 operations. But now I'm good. So I was good back then also after the 5. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you went on to play until 2000, and then you made that decision to retire then. So definitely you fought through it. But it is interesting when I was doing some research on that, there's plenty of other goalies in NHL history who've had that same syndrome. Like Scott Clemenson was one of them. He had that. There's also Tyler Plant, who was a Florida Panthers prospect. And then it's also interesting that some other Swedish goalies have also had some heart problems while they're active players. Like Jonas Gustafsson was one of them. Henrik Lundqvist most recently had to have a major open heart surgery. So it was interesting reading up on that. Just noticed it. All right. So, legendary goaltender Bernie Parent was the goalie coach for the Flyers while you were there. How was Parent, both as a coach and as a person, and did you have any memorable interactions with him?
He was a great person. We laughed a lot together. But I don't know how he wasn't there so often. He was.
Okay.
I think now these days they have a goalie coach every practice, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But back then it was like, he come. I don't know if it was once a week or something like that. So he wanted me to work on the angles, on be further out in the crease.
Mm-hmm.
So I was not used to that, so it was a little bit of a adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
But we had a good connection, and I liked him.
Oh yeah. Did he ever suit up at all and wear his goalie equipment when you were on the team, or was he just there just to coach here and there?
No, he didn't. But I remember when I first come over to Philadelphia, they told me, come over early, it's good for you. So when I come over like a month before or 3 weeks before training camp, there were nobody there.
Mm-hmm.
So I was at my hotel, Hyatt Hotel in Cherry Hill, and they picked me up and they go to the Coliseum. Voorhees Coliseum, where the practice arena was, and Bill Barber was there.
Okay.
Yeah, so he shoot at me, and he had a fantastic shot.
Oh,
I don't remember how old he was back then, but he shoot like a horse was kicking. So I had a rough time to take his shots. I figured, okay, how is this gonna go? But so I was there for a couple of weeks, and it was just him and me on the ice, maybe for a week or two, and then the guys started dropping in, and so that's and Bill and I think Bill and Verner played on the same 74 team or something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they have 2 rings, both of them.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're both there during that 70s dynasty for the Flyers there before the Islanders became the big dynasty in the early 80s. Yeah, so yeah, it is. Yeah. They're both legends in their own way for sure. It's cool you got to interact with both.
I can imagine how it was in Philadelphia when they won the Cups. It must have been crazy there.
Oh, I believe it. Plus how hard hockey was with the Broad Street Bullies there, where it was fights and hits, and it was a very different era for hockey, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're going to go back to your Philadelphia Flyers second season. We kind of alluded to that in a few previous questions there. So going into your second season, which was 1993-94, you were poised to show that your solid rookie year was no fluke. Unfortunately, you had a difficult season in net that year. What would you say was different from the 1992-93 season to the 93-94 season that might explain what happened from your rookie year to your second year there?
Yeah, that's a good question. I ask myself that. I signed a new contract during training camp, a 4-year deal.
Mm-hmm. I think we lost you here.
Come to me. We want. Yeah, now I'm back. Yeah, so
okay.
I think me and a couple of other guys signed new contracts, and I don't know why I was so bad, but I think maybe I was a little what's the name in English? I was a little too happy after the contract. I don't know.
Right.
But
okay.
Like you said, the second year is always the toughest, and I had a really, really bad year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they call that the sophomore slump. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So, but I don't really have a good answer actually why I was so bad the second year, because I had a really good first year with like 5 shootouts or something like that, 5 or 6.
Right.
And a lot of wins, but my second year I couldn't stop a beach ball, so it was a tough year.
I believe it. That unfortunately led to 1994, you being traded to the New York Islanders. Interestingly enough, for Ron Hextall to go back to Philadelphia at that point. So you went from one difficult situation to another because you entered the New York Islanders during some of their franchise's most difficult years under Mike Milbury. with the team having so many struggles compared to even Philly at their most difficult times, then how did you adjust to that difficult setting, and how are your teammates throughout it all?
I didn't thought that we were. When I come to Ireland, I have no idea if we're going to be good or bad. So I went in with a white paper and just tried to do my best. And I get traded during training camp, my third year in Philly. And when I come to the Islanders, they had me like a number 2 guy behind McLennan. But after during the season, we start to play again in January, and he started the games in the beginning. But at the end of the season, I was their number 1 guy. So I remember when I flew back from New York, say it was like a Tuesday, and coach called me in and he said, "Tommy, next year you're gonna start you as a number 1 from the beginning. So go back and practice hard this summer and come back with a good attitude. So I just want you to know that." And then I went on the plane Tuesday evening, and landed in Sweden on Wednesday morning. And then I bought a newspaper when I come to the airport, Swedish newspaper, and he said my coach had get fired.
Oh,
so,
no.
Yeah, so the guy who 12 hours before said he wanted to have me like a number 1 guy from the get-go. The next thing he was fired. So that was sad for me. But if I had been good enough, it shouldn't matter. But for a goaltender, it's easy. It's if you have the confidence from the coach, like I had the first year in Philadelphia, building in. And then we changed coach for the second year, and it was not the coach's fault, of course, but you understand what I want to say. And but so my second year on the Islanders, I was really bad also. So I had 2 good years in America, and I had 3 bad years.
Unfortunately, that's how it goes, but still a memorable career nonetheless.
4 years in NHL and the last year in the farm team, and I was happy for that either way, because when I was a kid, I could never dream that I'm gonna come to NHL. So 4 years, it was I'm so happy for it, and I'm thankful for it.
Oh yeah, well you got to live the dream, and you played in the highest, most famous level of hockey really there is right now. And I mean, for my business museum, I keep an active log. There's only ever been 818 goalies to ever play in the NHL since the very beginning to now. So that's a very small number to be a part of there. So it's a huge accomplishment.
What's an average?
I've never actually calculated the average, but most players are well under 40 games as an average career. Only very few get above it. 156 in your case is quite a bit above average.
Yeah. Can you imagine the goalies who's like 16, 17 years, like Henrik Lundqvist, Patrick Roy, Brodeur, and these guys? Can you imagine so many years in the same league? That's amazing that they still could have that good standard. Because goaltender is a tough position. Like, you need to perform every game. Of course, you need to do that also like a player, but the player could be from line number 1 to number 2 to 3, So,
exactly.
And
the players too, they have shorter shifts as well versus you're a goalie, especially if you're a starter for 16, 17 years. You're playing 60 minutes a game, usually for 65 to 70 games a season, at least as a full-time starter. So it's insane.
Yeah, Brodeur, didn't he play like 75, 76 games every season for a lot of years?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Pretty much right till the end there. I mean, he went from like 91, 92 season until 2014, 15. So he had a long career, and then lots of Stanley Cup finals. I mean, he's a legend for a reason there for sure.
Yeah.
But you even look at guys like Grant Fuhr, where maybe their numbers, save percentages, goals against averages aren't the best, but Fuhr was on pace one year to be the first goalie in nearly 30 NHL seasons to play every game in a season. He just got injured, unfortunately.
Did he ended up played every game?
Almost. Yeah, he played
Almost.
79 out of the 82 games for the season. But yeah, he got injured, so that's why they had to play someone else. But I think that was 96, 97. Yeah, with the St. Louis Blues, he would have been the last
Who was
goalie.
the backup?
Can't remember the name off the top of my head. It was a guy had a really short career.
For him,
name might come to me later on. It's on the tip of the tongue, but can't quite get it.
I had that in Sweden. I played maybe 1 or 2 seasons with all the games, and then I had like 1 or 2 seasons. I played all the games except 1 or 2. So I loved to play it a lot, but like in NHL, it was tougher to play so many games.
Oh, of course. Oh, I mean, it's the mental and
in
physical.
In Sweden, we had like 50 or something.
All right, so we actually have a question that Mr. Peter Stallman asked again, and then actually ties in decently to my next question as well. So he asks, Tommy, do you have any thoughts on why Finland produced more NHL goalies than Sweden, and what can we do to compete more?
I don't know, actually. I'm good on that kind of stuff, but I know in the 90s they had more goalies than we had in NHL. But I don't know now. Do they still have it now, 2020?
I never actually looked at the Finnish numbers, but in terms of Swedish goalies, there's I think only around 30 that have ever made the NHL from Sweden off the top of my head.
Okay.
So it's still a fairly small number. I think they're fairly identical, but I mean, like I said, when you joined the NHL, you were only the 4th Swedish goalie in history. Then Tommy Salo, I think, was number 5. So it's very, very few up to that point, at least.
Yeah, but I think maybe in the 90s it could be because of, I think they had like a different program for goalies in Finland. I think they have a lot of more goalie coaches and programs for like the nationwide for goaltenders. That could be the reason back then, but these days I don't know. But like I said, in Swedish goaltender now it's like Henrik Lundqvist, Markström, Ines Ullmark, Högberg. Who else do we have? There's a bunch of them now, I guess. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. You're recently a lot more.
Pekarinen, I know Pekarinen.
Pekarinen, you're right. And then what for Finnish? You also got Koskinen in Edmonton here. All right. So it actually ties in then to our next question. Well, is with regards to your fellow Swedish goalie that you played with for just a short period, Tommy Salo, that is. So even though you two didn't really share particularly much time in the NHL together, you two formed the first ever Swedish NHL combo in NHL history. What was it like playing with Tommy Salo, and did you ever foresee that he would become the NHL star that he did?
It was great to have a Swedish friend on the team, and we could speak Swedish when off the ice and stuff like that. And he had, when I come to Islanders '94, he was, I think that's if the same season he was in the farm team, Salt Lake City, Utah Grizzlies, and I think he won like the cup twice there. So of course I saw he had the potential, and he won the Olympic gold medal '94. So but it's always tough to see if you're going to be really, really good. But we played together. I don't know if he was up a little my first season. I don't think so. But the second season he played, we played a little together, but he was mostly in the farm team. And then my last year he was up and I was down. So I really didn't see him so much. But after I went back to Sweden, he had a great career in NHL and played many years and had good numbers.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I remember when he was our starting goalie here in Edmonton. So, of course, have that fondness for him as well. And then I have one of his jerseys in the museum collection as well. So always gotta bring him up in whenever I can there. Actually, sorry, one of the commenters on the side mentioned about the Blues goalie because we were talking about the Grand Fear and who that backup was who had to go through it. Ryan Sills here wrote Jim Carrey in '99. Jim Carrey was with the team as after his Vezina, but that wasn't the year. Actually, just popped up to me. 95, 96.
Wasn't he Boston?
He was with Boston as well. It was Washington, Boston, and St. Louis, and he had that one crazy year in Washington there where he got the Vezina.
Washington. Who was the guy in Boston '90 who had like really good?
There was a couple of guys in Boston that seemed to happen with, but Blaine Locker was the other one that year who had
that's
the Loch Ness Monster,
yeah, but Jim Carrey didn't he have like one good year and then he signed a big contract and then he was really bad afterwards? Was that Carrey?
Yeah, I mean he had the one excellent year, then he had another year where he was good, then he got traded, and then not so good afterwards. Yeah. But I mean that's how it happens sometimes. Yeah, but the backup to Grand Fear that year where he played that 79 games was Bruce Racine and John Casey. And then, of course, John Casey, that was the year Grand Fear got injured in the playoffs. And then John Casey took him to the conference final. And then he let in that really rough Steve Yzerman shot right in overtime there that eliminated St. Louis. So, again, if Grand Fear wouldn't have been injured and he would have gotten through all the games, he could have potentially played, all 82 games plus all the playoffs. And how the team was with Gretzky in the roster, they could have made it to the Cup final. And, Fear would have played 100% of the games. Which before Grand Fear, the last goalie to do that was Eddie Johnston in 1963, 62-ish. So really a long time ago.
Okay.
And of course, nowadays
you'll games back then also.
I think it was just 60 game seasons back then.
Okay.
Because that was before the big expansion of 67 there, so it wasn't as many games. But nowadays you'll never see a goalie play 82 games plus all the games in the season. It's just not going to happen.
No, that's true.
But speaking of, we were talking about earlier your first game in Philadelphia there playing against Pittsburgh. You were talking about fighting and how much you enjoy a good fight. December 9th, 1995, you're with the New York Islanders. You ended up in a goalie fight of your own against Corey Schwab. So what happened that led to that goalie fight? How do you think the fight went? And did you and Schwab have a grudge against one another afterwards?
It was one of our guys was hurt in my zone. I think it was Kasperitis. And then after he get hurt and he was down on the ice, it became a fight. So they were 5 players and we were 4. So I was just holding the pants of one of the players. And then Corey Schwab obviously thought I wanted to fight. So he come over and I didn't see him. And he dropped his gloves early, and I had my on. And you know how it is when you had the stopper, and not the stopper, the catcher. I couldn't get that off, so he started to hammer me. And my only thought was, because I always wanted to be in a fight in an NHL. So my only thoughts was like, okay, Tommy, don't go down on ice like this and be like, whatever. So I stand up all the time, but he hit me all, maybe 5, 6, 7 times. I don't know. So I got cut here, and I needed to 6 stitches, I guess. So on your questions, I don't need to answer who won that fight. And but the sad thing about that was also we played in New Jersey afternoon. And then we're going to play Philadelphia next game. So after the game, we're going to go to Philadelphia, and I'm going to have a date in Philadelphia that evening with a girl. And since I had like a blue eye, we lost the game, a blue eye, and I was not in a really good mood. I canceled the date.
Oh no!
And so that was the worst part about it, because after that we didn't see each other. So I got not sad about it, but you know what I mean.
Oh, of course. I get it.
That was the hardest part of it.
And then you and Corey Schwab, after the fight, did you have any issues with one another, or was it just part of the game and then that was it?
It was part of the game. I remember I saw an interview with me after. I said, okay, I get it back one of these days. And obviously, and then they asked me, Tom, you raised your hands when the fans was booing. So I guess I did like this to the fans when I skated back to the net. And I was a little bit cocky there, but I think Corey Schwab didn't get a good NHL career after that. So I don't know how many games he played. So that's my.
I can't remember the number of games, but yeah, he went on. I think he was the backup in New Jersey there that ended his career in 2003, 2004, and he played with Toronto. And
did he play so many years?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. He went on and yeah, he had a decent career. Nothing really bad to say.
Yeah, I thought it was maybe a year or two after he hit me, but I get that wrong then.
So, speaking of looking back on a career, what would you say was your biggest ever save in your entire hockey career? So this can be the NHL, it can be any point throughout your hockey career.
Biggest save, I don't know. It's tough to, but I remember one of my saves against Finland in the World Championship '92 in the final. The guy come in and did a slap shot or something. I took it in my glove.
Oh wow!
Late in the game, I think we were up like 4-2 or something. So it was a big save. But then, other saves. You remember them a couple of weeks after the game, then they pass away.
Did you do a big windmill on the glove save? Just really show it off?
Yeah, I think so. Probably. No, I think I took it in my glove, and then usually when I did that, I wanted to go out and play the puck also.
Right.
I think the ref blew the whistle before I could drop it. So,
right. I actually think when I was making the intro video to this episode of the show here, I actually had that as one of the things in the compilation where you were playing with Sweden and you made a glove save and then you just started skating out. And
maybe that's the one. Yeah.
That's why I was kind of like, hey, I haven't seen that before, but okay, that makes sense now that you want to go out and play it, and then ref stopped it. So okay,
I did that a lot actually. So.
There was one YouTube video I actually saw the other day with you in there where you had to chase after a puck that was going towards the empty net when you were in Philadelphia. And curious what happened on that one. What happened with that?
No, it was like the ref had like this for a penalty, penalty for the other team. So I went to the bench. Yeah, and then passed the puck from behind the net to my defenseman, but he missed it, and I saw that, so I just turned around and I skated back to the net, but I couldn't get it. So it was a tough
I saw it, and that's why I was wondering what happened with everything in that situation there. Okay.
But that happened once in a while. I've seen that before and after, so with other teams.
Oh yeah. It's just too bad when you have all the goalie gear on, you can't skate as fast as a player. And we have
starting to laugh.
Peter Stallman wrote again. He said Salo used to drop and bat the puck out. I'm guessing that's after a glove save where you skated out with it. He used to just drop it and bat it out. All right. So we're on your last season in the NHL now. So after you played one final NHL game in the 96-97 season, you returned to Sweden in 97-98, and you became the league MVP over there that year. So what you showed was that you have lots of goaltending left in you at that point. Did you miss playing in the NHL? Were you glad to be back in your home country, or did you hope for maybe an NHL comeback after that?
I was so happy when I come back to Sweden, and I signed a 5-year deal with my old team.
Oh, wow.
So for me, it was never in my head that I'm going to go back to America again after But that was the best prize I ever got, like a hockey player, because the prize is voted from the players.
Mm-hmm.
And so we vote who we think is the MVP of the year. So I think I got like a lot of votes, and so I was really proud of that prize. So,
oh yeah, well, your numbers that year were crazy. Like, I think you're like a 92.3 save percentage that season, and like a really low goals against. Like, it was really something else, even for that era over there. So it was quite a season.
Yeah, back then. Yeah, back then it was good if you have around 90. It's not like now. If you're below 90 now, you suck.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. But back then it was good. So I had a really good year when I come back my first year, and but sadly we lost in the last game in the finals, overtime, home. So that was a tough loss. Really tough loss.
I can imagine for sure.
It's just a game. Yeah.
Of course. But obviously at the time it hurts a little more versus when you have time to think about it later on. Just in the heat of the moment there.
Yeah, no. But the thing is, you said I played one game the last season. I didn't.
Yes.
I was in one game. I think it was like they changed goalie because they wanted to have. They didn't have any timeout left. You know, they do.
Oh, I see. That's interesting.
Yeah, so I was just in for maybe a minute or so. I don't know if they scored even that. I think it was against the Rangers. I think so, but I'm not sure though. So
interesting. Yeah, I was wondering why it was just the one game there, because I'd read a few different things. There's some people said it was just like you said, it was just kind of a switch out as a strategy, and there's another person, another page that said it was because of the what was it called? Oh, it's because of your heart thing that you had, that you could only play that long in a game before they had to pull you, but that didn't make much sense. So yeah, it was interesting to hear that.
Yeah, my last season was so boring because Milbury told me before the season, before training. Oh shit! Sorry about that.
It's all good.
Mike Milbury told me before the season training camp that we're gonna go with Eric Shaw and Tommy Soderstrom, and I'm gonna see them during training camp, and if they play good, I'm gonna send you down to the minors. So I didn't play 1 minute during the training camp, and then he waited a couple of weeks to see how they did in NHL, and then he sent me down to Utah, and I asked him, why don't you buy me out instead, so I could go back to Europe or trade me? But he didn't want to do that, and he told me like before the season also, I know you can play in NHL, but we want to go with these young guys. So
interesting.
For me it was just a waiting game, and then they sent me down, and I was in Utah for a couple of months, and then they loaned me out to Rochester, and then I asked him in February. I was playing 2 games or something. I said, okay, why can I buy myself out from the contract? And then he agreed to that, so I bought him out from my contract.
Interesting. It's still kind of a tough way to end a career that started so strong with Philadelphia there in that first year. How tough it was in the last year there. Yeah,
it's part of the game. But I had a good contract, and it was a one-way, so that was not. It was not good for me because no other teams wanted to have me. If I had less salary, maybe they wanted to have me. So you know how it was in politics.
Of course.
So,
So, bring myself back up. They're good. So, at the end of 99-2000, after winning your third Swedish Hockey Championship, I think Michael Tellqvist was the #1 goalie that year, you retired at the age of 30. What motivated you to retire so young from hockey when you potentially could have had another 5 to 10 solid years of play left in you?
Yeah, it was when I come home, I signed a 5-year deal, and I was like 27 or something. And then my first year was really good, like we talked about, and my second year was not so good, and I started to lose passion for the game. But I figured, okay, I give it one more shot, and then I played a lot before Christmas, and but I was decent, but not better than that. And Telquist was really good, and I started to feel like, okay, why should I do this? Because my passion was gone, and I always said to myself a couple of years earlier that the day I don't have the passion for the game anymore, I'm gonna quit cold turkey.
Right.
So I went up after the season to the GM, and I said, "Now you have won the lottery." And he said, "How do you mean?" "Yeah, I'm gonna quit, so you don't need to pay me for 2 more years. So you can use the money to some other players." And for me, if I could, I should have quit in the middle of the season, but I couldn't do that because that's bad against the team. So
of course, lets the team down.
Yeah.
What did you end up doing after you? What did you end up doing after you retired from hockey? Did you do something in hockey for work, or what did you do after that?
No, nothing at all. I did nothing, and I still do nothing. So I love it. Yeah, I'm I have invest my money in stocks even when I was playing. So the stock market has been good to me, and my NHL money has made that I could have a life now that I can do whatever I want. So
nice.
I not everybody would like that lifestyle, but for me it works, and I have my dog, and I play golf summertime, and I'm at my summer house a couple of months, and then I play a lot of racquetball. Is that how you call it? Badminton, maybe 4 or 5 times a week. So I keep busy, and I'm not getting too fat, so I had a great life.
Oh, of course. Well, I mean, stay healthy, stay happy. I mean, that's the key to a good life there. I mean, not being stressed all the time. I mean, especially can imagine being a pro athlete for how many years. Definitely has to be stressful at times there. So definitely to sort of let that go and just enjoy life is a good thing.
If I should have a job, if I could choose, I would love to be a policeman.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a tough job, especially mentally. I think you're gonna get people angry. Is that how you say?
Of course.
Yeah, and but I think it's a really interesting job.
Oh yeah. Oh, I am a former law enforcement officer as well. I used to work in law enforcement, and I also used to work with police department and crime analysis. So I've been inside of that world before. So it's definitely it's a different one, that's for sure.
Yeah, but I'm too old now to study that, so it's too late.
Watch it on TV.
Yeah. I love to see that kind of shows.
Right. Okay, so now we look again throughout your entire hockey career. Who was your favorite goaltending partner throughout your whole career, and why?
My favorite goaltending partner? Yeah, that's a tough question. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna answer on that, actually. Do you need an answer or no? Because it's tough.
You can list a few names too if you have more than one, where it's like, hey, it's a few guys that you particularly enjoyed.
I had been really good friends with all of them. Maybe me and Eric Fischer wasn't like the best friends, but we respected each other. But other than that, I got along with everybody. So
okay, that's the way to do it. I mean, you don't want to burn any bridges or make enemies, especially if you're on the same team. It's tension nobody really wants to deal with. So again, looking back throughout your whole hockey career, what would you say is your favorite hockey memory ever?
I think I had a couple of them. It's Canada Cup '91 national team, and it's World Championship, the gold medal '92, and then the Swedish Championship '91. I was young. I was like 21. Or 22, 21. Yeah, and then of course, playing in NHL, especially with the Flyers. I was young and I had a good year there, and and the thing is, like, the most thing I'm happy about is like the journey, because I played a lot of finals. In Sweden, I was like in the finals for maybe 4 times. Let's see. I won 4 or 5 times, and then in Swedish national team we were in the finals 3 times.
Right.
And I've been winning a couple of goals, and for me that's you can play a whole career and never go to the finals. So that's one of the things I'm most proud of, that I have been lucky to be on teams that going far in the playoffs. Not in NHL though. We never went to the playoffs, but in Sweden and with the national team.
Still, I mean, Sweden is also an elite hockey country, and the Swedish hockey league there has a lot of ex-NHLers and is just as legitimate in many ways. So making it to a championship in any league is a huge accomplishment. So that's pretty amazing, regardless, especially 3 times winning it and however many times making it to the finals. So very, very cool. So because I'll bring myself back up to size. Very good. So because we are my business, here's the Crease Goaltending Museum and Memorabilia. Our goal is to preserve the history of NHL goaltending. So we have a fun focus on game-used hockey gear. So behind me, I'll bring it up here, actually have your Philadelphia Flyers, one of your game-used blockers, the Von Vision 1950 with the weird curve in it. Of course, has your name to it as well.
How could I have the curve on that one? Why did they have that?
I have no idea. The 90s were a strange time for goalie gear. They like to try different things. You only use this, I think, for like the late part of the 94, 95 or 93, 94 season with Philly there. And I'm assuming you didn't like it because you only used it for a short period of time there. But
it has no marks on it. So did I have any pucks with it or not?
It has quite a few marks on it. I mean, this is the picture here of you using it. So that's the blocker, and that's the exact same blocker. I mean, the marks match up to it. I mean, you used it, but not for a long time.
Maybe it was on practice.
Yeah, it could be. Oh, the picture here has lots of fans in the stands, so it must be during game action. But since that's our goal, is preserving NHL history through pieces of the gear, I always ask this question on my show from every guest. Obviously, you showed us one piece already, which was the old cage mask there from your 99-2000 season. But did you ever keep anything else as well as that, obviously, from your playing career?
I had my old stuff. Because when I quit 2 years earlier from my team, I said, okay, I want to have my equipment, and I want to have 4 tickets to every game for 10 years because my father liked to go. So he said, yeah, of course, get that. But with the stuff I had, since I play with Tre Kronor Legends once in a while, not much though, but I still have my equipment, and then my jersey. I had like 1 jersey from the team I played for.
Okay.
Maybe not in the minors, but on the other teams. But then, like the medals, I gave them away.
Oh.
I have 1 gold medal left, and that's 92 gold medal. Other 91 I gave away, and the silver in the World Championship 93 I gave away, and all the Swedish I gave away to kids and other people who like them, because in my world I don't need to have the medals keeping, because I know I already been there and won a couple of times. So I think it's more fun for kids or other people to have it. So and then I had another set of gears, and I gave that to people before. The brown pads I had, and the heat on gloves and the stopper. But other than that, I just maybe have one or two sticks, but I used them when I played with a Trick Legends team.
Oh, interesting. Like I know because I'm actively involved in that game worn community. There's not that much stuff of yours out there. Like it's pretty tough to find Tommy Soderstrom game use stuff. So I'm happy to have my piece.
and if you walk into my home, you could never see that I've been a professional hockey player because I have nothing at home. The only gold medal I have it's at my apartment, at my parents' apartment. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I have a picture on the walls that I played hockey or anything. So it's nothing.
It's a well-kept secret.
Yeah.
Well, you were even telling me yesterday there, you were saying that like your mask and your stuff you kept in your upstairs in the attic, so it's like hidden away too.
Yeah, so I need to go up and get it when I'm going to be on the show here. So.
Very good. Out of curiosity, how come you never got like cool artwork on your mask? Because I know even with the cages, other goalies like Dominic Hasek or Arturs Urbe managed to get some cool artwork on it.
Yeah, but I thought in the 90s they didn't paint their helmet either, did they? Maybe I thought it was later. I'm not sure though, but for me it was not an issue. I had this helmet and to paint on this one, I don't know what I should have painted. So
fair enough.
I never thought about it.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, it definitely when anyone sees that particular mask look, even if your head's not in it, they automatically assume, that's a Soderstrom mask and cage combo. Everyone knows that right off the bat. It's iconic. So we did talk about this question already. We mentioned it, but do you still keep in touch with any of your former teammates? And do you have any interactions with the Flyers or Islanders organizations? Perhaps they want you to play in an alumni game in the future?
Actually, I have no interaction with either Pele or the Islanders, and the only player I speak to once in a while, but it was a long time ago, is Tommy Soderstrom and another Andreas Johansson.
Right. Yes.
I play with him. We speak frequently, but I don't know if it would be fun to be in an alumni game in Philadelphia, but it's a little too far. So I don't think I'm ever gonna get that question though.
Hey, never say never. You never know. It'd be fun. They pay for you to go out there. You can get your gear out of the attic, and then everyone can see some of the '90s gear and that mask of yours in action once more. That would be pretty cool. And then if you don't have a blocker, what's that?
You need to stop the puck also during the game, and I don't know if I'm good enough to do that anymore.
The alumni games are for fun, so you don't have to stop a puck. Just look good.
Okay, cool.
Good. So we are actually coming up to our last question here, so I'll just throw it out to the audience before I ask it. So if anyone has any last-second questions for Mr. Soderstrom, have probably a couple minutes or so to ask. But someone commented insurance probably wouldn't let you play in that mask anymore anyway. So yeah, any last-second questions, just type it in the comments section here, and then see if we can get Mr. Soderstrom to answer. But I'll ask my final question, and then if there's no other questions, then we'll be wrapping up this edition of Interview with an NHL Hero. So this last question is just a general hockey question I ask to every guest I have on the show, because I feel it's important with so many young kids wanting to play hockey and then maybe turn pro. So, Mr. Soderstrom, as someone who lived the dream that every young player aspires to achieve, and that is making the NHL, being a champion in professional hockey, do you have any advice for kids or for their parents about what it takes to be a pro hockey player?
I just had one tips about that. Is just have fun, work hard, and if you're lucky and you could make it to the NHL or some other leagues in Europe, but it's just a small percentage who get to the top level to play professional. So the best thing is to have a good education, and then if you're lucky enough and
Mr. Soderstrom. Oh, there we go. We're back.
Yeah. Did you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Did you hear me, or it was just a picture went? Okay.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's definitely good advice for everyone who may want to play in the NHL someday, or for a parent who wants their kid to be in the NHL. Get a good education, have fun, have a good attitude, and it's not easy to make it. You have to be lucky too, and work hard, of course. I mean, especially if you want to be a goalie in the NHL, even tougher. Like I said, 100+ years of NHL action, only 818 goalies have ever played in regular season or playoff action, and some of those are defensemen who had to play as goalies in the 1920s and 30s. So it's a tough journey, but good attitude can get you there, maybe. Okay, so I have no other questions on the side here, so I'm guessing that our viewers are questioned out for now. So on that note, we are going to be wrapping up our show here. So, Mr. Soderstrom, I want to thank you for coming on and being our 4th guest on Interview with an NHL Hero here at Heroes of the Crease Goaltending Museum and Memorabilia. Had a lot of fun, learned a lot of things about your journey, and got a lot of context to stories that I'd heard but never really understood what was happening in them just from a video. So I'm very glad you came. I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule. This was a lot of fun for me.
Thank you very much, Bruce, and it's an honor to be on your show, and I'm happy that you asked me. So
absolutely.
Good luck in the future, and have a great evening. It's evening my time. Not that time, but
just afternoon for me, so I still have rest of the day as well.
Cool.
Good. So on that note, once again, thank you, Mr. Soderstrom, and for everyone else watching, don't forget to subscribe and like us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. We post new content daily on all those. YouTube, about once per week, we add some new content. That's Heroes of the Crease. Also visit us at www.heroesofthecrease.com for all your goaltending history needs. Until next time, my friends, have yourselves an excellent day. Bye-bye.